Hi all, this is Skate, and today I want to have a look at the Churchill III. Now this tank is a tier 5 Russian heavy. Now obviously the Churchill's British, this is in the Russian tech tree. The reason it's in the Russian tech tree is because it was a lend-lease from Britain to Russia. But the reason I want to put a video up on this tank is A, it's a fantastic tank, B, it's the XP king, and C, I've been asked quite a bit, what would I recommend as a first premium tank for someone? And it's got to be the Churchill III. And my reasoning for thinking this is the best first premium tank to get is because it's not too fast, so you can't go headfirst into battle if you're fairly new into the game. It's got a good rate of fire, it's got good armor, so you can make mistakes and fall back on the armor. It's tier 5, so you're not throwing yourself straight into the higher tiers. And this thing gets an XP boost. Now that's not something I'm aware many tanks get, but this has a huge one for what it is. So if you're new to the game, or even if you're looking for a premium tank to earn XP with rather than worrying about credits, this is the tank for that. Now veterans aren't going to be worried about that. I mean, if you're a long-term player, you're going to click that button and you're going to see free XP to convert. You're going to have millions and millions and millions. And I've seen some people with outrageous amounts. I've got 28 million, I think, free XP to convert. That would cost me a lot of money, and I'm never ever going to convert that much free XP. But when you're new to the game, sometimes you really want that bit of XP to help you along the line quicker. And that is where the Churchill III comes in. I've played every tank in the game on my account, except one or two. But if I order all of my tanks via XP earned or average XP earned, the Churchill III is in 4th position, with an average XP of 1,253 at tier 5. Now if we quickly have a look at my equipment loadouts on this, I run the rammer. The other important things I'd say to go with is obviously the improved optics, gun lane drive, and enhanced armor. If you're going to go all the way, I'd go with improved control rather than engine accelerator, and then go with the V-stabs. Enhanced tracks will be beneficial because you will get your tracks knocked off an awful lot with this. And the last slot, same with every tank, I just feel it's not worth the spare parts. I run 32 APCR on this on 108 AP. Overkill on the APCR, but it's worth putting in because you have that much room. You can see what combat rations and improved fuel I use here. And then on a consumables front, adrenaline, multi-purpose repair kit, and the repair kit. So obviously let's have a look at some gameplay as well. I think the other thing with this as well is tier 5. So it's kind of like the perfect level for a new player. You can get to tier 5 after not many battles. And when you get to tier 5, that's sort of the level I think where people start to get some experience. I mean personally, I only thought people who had a vast interest in the game would watch YouTube videos, especially my YouTube videos on World of Tanks Blitz. But I've had people contact me and comment who are very new players, which I never expected. Which is why it got me thinking, well, after being asked so many times, what is the perfect first premium? And it is this in my book. Couple that with the fact of if you spend thousands of gold on your very first tank being a tier 8 premium, you're not going to know how to use it properly because you haven't got the experience, and you are just going to get nailed and probably just frustrate your team in the process as well. When you're looking at lower tier premiums, they help you along the way, and they really do help you learn the basics and some more advanced techniques like side scraping. This thing is an absolute gem at side scraping. And even if you're not a new player, I'm by no means a new player, but I still enjoy playing this tank and tier 5s and lower. It's fun, and with a 3.2 second reload, you're constantly doing something, you're constantly trying to fire your gun. And that makes the gameplay more exciting. And by making the game more exciting, obviously you have more fun. If you dive straight into the game, go straight to the high tiers, you are going to be absolutely obliterated, and you're not going to enjoy it. So what's the point in spending all that gold on something which you're not going to enjoy? Surely learn the basics, go up through the tiers, and then when you do get up the higher tiers, you're going to have the experience, so when you do purchase that nice shiny T-34, that nice shiny Super Persian, you're going to know how to use it, and you're going to have a whale of a time in it. Getting your arse handed to you every game is not fun. Being able to sit in front of tanks like this, absorb all the damage, is brilliant fun. Because they fire one into you, possibly goes into your track, possibly bounces like that, and then they have a huge reload, while you're just picking little bits of them over and over again. It doesn't matter how many games or how many battles you have played, it doesn't get old, it doesn't get boring. It's just fun picking people apart and knowing that they're frantically trying to look for somewhere to penetrate. And there are certain tanks in tier 5 and a lot of tier 6s that you need to be careful of, because they can go straight through your frontal plates, especially your lower plates, or more concerningly, straight through the face of your turret. Which is where angling comes into it. Driving this tank, you never drive it at the reds in a straight line. You always need to be driving this thing slightly off at an angle. It increases all the armor thickness, which makes it very, very bouncy. If you've got a wall in front of you and you can side scrape back out of it, you put your gun just over the right hand side of the track or just over the left track, and you go to town with that rate of fire, constantly moving in and out, taking a shot, because by the time you pull in, you pull straight back out, you're ready to go again with another shell, and the only thing people have to shoot at is the side of your tank. And the side of that tank is very, very bouncy. It's got a thick armor plate on the outside, then you have the track, and then you have an armor plate on the inside. Against high pen guns though, between your shots you realistically need to be turning your turret slightly away from them, just to try and increase the armor thickness. If you're constantly pointing at them, there's a good chance they're going to penetrate straight through the turret face, and not bother going for the side of the tank. That being said, when you're angled at quite an aggressive angle, which is fun against tier 5s, not so wise against tier 6, you need quite a steep angle against tier 6s, which I'll give an example of in the next match. But if we quickly look at this one, 1200 plus XP for doing 1200 damage. That's base. When I added premium time and the first win of the day, that's over 3600 XP for 1200 damage. I don't think there's any other tank in the game which can give you that much experience for that much damage. On top of that, I think this tank is a bit overpowered. Yeah, it doesn't have very good gun depression, and the gun dispersion isn't the greatest, but when you have that good armor, and you manipulate the armor by side scraping or angling, the dispersion or gun depression doesn't matter, because you're in someone's face, firing the gun every 3.1 seconds. Which is why this thing is so much fun to play, because you can play it so aggressively. And when you have hard cover like rocks, or buildings especially in cities, this thing is outstanding fun. Now it looks like the vast majority of the reds have gone up. There's 4 of us down in the town, and the rest of my team are up the top, and sadly they are being slaughtered at the moment, which realistically we should be up there helping. However, I'm trying to bait them down by capping. Now this one, just to spoil the surprise, is a loss. However, I wanted to include this one, even though there are mistakes made in this one, because it gives a perfect example of how much a beating this tank can take, and how much it can dish out at the same time. So we've bounced 1 from that M4, and in the time it's taken for him to come down, we've just put 3 shots into him. That's 4 now, and you can see we're angling, just moving back and forth, try and wiggle and put him off any weak spots he's trying to aim at. And we haven't stopped shooting at this guy so far, and now he penetrates through the front plate, and then I get shot in the side. And this is where we get rushed from all angles. And I've angled my armor to this BDR in that direction, which is why I'm getting penned so easy in the left. However, now that we're angling towards them, we're going to start producing a lot more bounces. And with so many of them around, you're seeing I'm trying to get near the building, and I am going to try and side scrape. This hides most of my weak points. We're at a nice angle for armor profile, and I can just try and work this corner, popping in and out constantly, just trying to whittle down anyone who comes near me. They are now all on my right hand side. You could see I was going for track shots on that T28. Sadly wasn't working. We do manage to finish off the Leo. He did penetrate us. They have very, very good penetration values. And then the next shot that comes in gets absorbed by the tracks. We bounce another one. That was from the Chaffee, and that's one I'm worried about because they have 115mm of penetration. And he's a one shot, so I am trying to take him out. Here's the mistake though. The T28 hasn't been seen in a while because he is now on my left hand side. And I'm not angled appropriately to deal with him. I'm angled for the guys on the right, which means the T28 on my left hand side had a nice, easy, flat side. And that's my mistake there. Because if I noticed him, I could have tried to angle to try and deal with him. When you're not angled appropriately and you give someone a nice flat side, they are going to penetrate you no problem at all. When you're trying to angle appropriately, obviously you're vastly increasing the chances of a bounce. But nonetheless, I was still quite happy with the game, even though I made several mistakes. And we did 2,144 damage in that one. Okay. This match is a tier 6 game. And that is one of the things that worries me the most when I'm in a tier 5 tank, a KV2 on the enemy team. Doesn't matter what tier 5 tank you're in, when there's a KV2 on the red team, I'm worried about it. Which is why I will try and avoid giving him the front of my turret at all costs. Or anywhere on the front or flat side of the tank, because he'll penetrate me, or if he doesn't penetrate, he's still going to do massive amount of damage to my little tier 5 tank. But this is why I enjoy this tank so much. It is a fantastic side scraper. And we spotted that Leo, and you can see I've come instantly parking my front into hard cover, and the only thing they have to shoot at now is the side of my tank. Now I say there is only a Leo there at the moment. Here come the rest. And I'd class this at about medium range. And I didn't pick this spot because it's medium range. I picked it because it was the first place, and it's a good place to side scrape off. It's the perfect angle for it. But at this sort of range, they don't have a huge amount of my tank to shoot at. Oh, there's an SU-100Y. That is not something I want to get shot by either. But in this circumstance, you'll see I'm taking the shot, and I'm constantly trying to move after each shot, pushing back in and back out. So there's no weak spots available, i.e. the front of my turret. And there's the KV2, and there's me pulling straight into cover. Now, it was just me and a VK by here. The VK3601 is now dead, but the rest of my team have now worked their way around the flank. I could penetrate the side of that KV2 turret very, very easily. But I wanted that track shot to try and keep him in position. Thankfully, we do get this track shot, and we do set him on fire, so double bonus there. The next shot, though, obviously does miss the track. But I don't mind, because with this rate of fire, we managed to pin down the Leo and finish him off with a track shot as well. And again, I'm looking for the KV1 track shot. He does repair it, so we take out his backtrack, and then he repairs that as well, and I miss my last shot. Now, the rest of the Reds have now pushed towards my friendlies, so I'm going to try and push this MT25. He probably can penetrate, and he can definitely penetrate my sides, no problem, which is why I'm trying to come at him at an angle and deal with him as quick as I can. He does get around the side, he does shoot, he does track us, but we do manage to finish him off. And there is only one tank left now, which of course is the KV2. But I think this one again gives a nice example of when you stick this tank in a situation where it is very strong, it's tough to get that tank out of that spot. So when you're in situations like that, don't go rushing to them. I think the best thing to do is make them come to you. Because I was in a strong position, there's not a lot they can do to get me out without all rushing me. Which, hopefully by that time, my team would have been on their backs anyway. But that was a tier 6 game. We did 1,887 damage. And again, we made 1,380 base XP. That's over 2,000 XP with premium time. And we did make 45,000 credits, which again is not bad for a tier 5 tank. However, this tank, I think, is more about the XP. Anyway, shorter than average video. And this one, I did want to direct at newer players to the game, or someone who hasn't bought a premium tank and is still fairly new to the game. Either way, I hope you have enjoyed it, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye bye.